Performance management is a critical skill for leaders and managers. And at some point, you'll have to deal with an employee who is not meeting your expectations. So in today's video, we are going to look at how do you manage a poor performing employee. And not just manage them, but manage them correctly. And during my interaction with employers, there are two common mistakes I find managers and leaders making when it comes to handling poor performing employees. And the number one mistake I find with managers is the issue of procrastination. So you have this staff, you've been with them for some time, and you know they are not performing, they are not meeting your expectations. And yet, instead of dealing with the issue at hand, you procrastinate. You don't bring up the conversation on the poor performance. And this keeps building up, and before you know it, they've been doing the poor work for over a year. And so by the time you come to ask them about the performance, the poor performance, the employee will be asking themselves, where are you coming from? Maybe this is what I did January last year. Now you're asking me in the new year. So procrastination is one of the mistakes I find managers and leaders making when it comes to managing the poor performing employees. The second issue or mistake, and it's closely tied to the issue of procrastination, is getting emotional. So you'd imagine here you have a poor performing employee. If you didn't handle the issue at the very beginning, when you noticed or when it came to your attention, the more you let the issue go on without you addressing it, then the higher likelihood of you becoming emotional. And that's why you find you terminating the employee without even giving them a recourse, without even giving them a reason. And before you know it, you've been taken to the courts and you are here defending your reason. So if you follow the due process that I'm going to discuss with you, then the probability of you becoming emotional will be very minimal, and to a great extent it will not even be there. So the question is then, how do you handle a poor performing employee in a professional and even legal manner? How do you do it? So it's a part 5 process, and you have to be this procedural. So you can't miss on any of these steps. If you miss on any of these steps, then you will not follow the due process. And even the employee, they can take you to court. They can institute legal measures, on account of procedural termination. So the first step is to always make sure that you have SMART KPIs, key performance indicators. So when you are hiring this person, you give them a job description, you give them a contract, let them know your expectations. And the expectation, they should be in writing. So if it's a salesperson, you need them to bring this revenue, why don't you put it in writing? If it's the accountants and you need them to be filing the reports by these due dates, also have it in writing. When the two parties sit and you agree on the deliverables, then life becomes very much easier for the two parties, because on one hand, the employee knows what is expected of them. And for you as a manager, you can put them to task. So always ensure that you have SMART KPIs. Step number 2 is appraise the employee, the formal appraisal system. So depending on your HR policy or depending on your practice, if someone is new, it's normally recommended you do this on a monthly basis before, so that you can see whether to confirm them or not. If someone has been there longer with you, it's always recommended twice a year. And so this is a formal process. It should be documented. And if the employee is not meeting your expectation, give them a chance to explain themselves. So maybe you didn't avail the right tools, resources for them. It's a justification on why they were not able to meet your expectation or the KPIs that you had set, or there are factors beyond their control. Last year, January 2020, no one thought Corona would hit us hard, but come March, all the plans we had, what happened to them? We couldn't meet them, because here is something that came which was beyond our control. So give the employee a chance to give you feedback on why they did well, and even on the areas that they didn't perform well, and that should be in writing. Then what happens if during the appraisal, the employee, you find that they've not met your expectations, and there's no reason, there's really no good reason why they didn't do that. Then we come to the third process, and this is where you put them on a performance improvement plan. Again, commonly what we refer to as PIP. And this PIP, you also make sure that they have KPIs. So you tell them, okay, I can see that you didn't meet the expectations for the last 6 months. So I will make sure the next 3 months you're able to improve by these measures. And make sure then it's detailed, step by step. What do you expect this person to do? Where are they failing? What are their shortcomings? So as you can see, it's a procedure. You're not just coming to the office, rushing, being very quick to write a letter. No, that's not the procedural way to do it. Okay. Then when you put this person under a PIP, you've given them a certain duration. Step number 4 is to come and then appraise them again. So this is the first appraisal you did. Then you came up with you put them under the PIP. Then they performed, then you revisit the issue. You say, okay, your KPI, I'll use the example of a salesperson, is you're supposed to bring revenue of 1 million shilling a month. So you are only doing 300,000, which is below average. That's an E, it's close to failing. So when you put them under PIP, you told them, I want you to improve up to 600 or 700,000. So now, when you are praising them after the PIP, you can come and be able to see whether are they now at the 600 or 700 that you had agreed upon. If they are, you can tell them, good job, continue the same way, and facilitate even for them to be able to reach that ultimate goal of them being able to meet the 1 million KPI. And so at that point, then you'll be able to know that is this a foregone conclusion? Do you see this employee improving or not? If if there's a probability of them improving, then you give them chance, but also make sure that it's in writing. However, if it's not, then at this point, you as the employer or the manager, you've done all you could to be able to empower this person. You give them a chance to prove themselves. If they don't, then you can terminate them. And what you write on the letter is on account of poor performance. So that's the procedural way to go about it. And now when you're terminating them, if you require to pay them 1 month notice, either they serve or in due of payment, then termination process kicks in. And you need also to follow the right process when it comes to termination. So that's the procedure. As you can see, it's a 5-part process. You don't have to get emotional about this. You don't have to procrastinate. It's your work as the manager, as the leader, to ensure that performance management is implemented in your place. And the important thing to note that when you're talking about performance management, it should be number 1, procedural. Number 2, it should be fair. Those are the 2 key things to note about. And I see a lot of employers being taken to court, and because they miss on these 1 or 2 processes, so it shouldn't happen to you. So thank you for watching this video. If you'd want assistance on coming up with a performance management system for your organization, for your department, we are here to help you. It shouldn't be complicated. And it's very important that you get it right for the smooth running of the organization, and to ensure that your employees knows what is expected of them. So thank you for watching, and see you in the next video.